The test of a first-rate intelligence is the ability to hold two opposed ideas in mind at the same time and still retain the ability to function. Personality is an unbroken series of successful gestures. First you take a drink, then the drink takes a drink, then the drink takes you. Show me a hero and I'll write you a tragedy. Never confuse a single defeat with a final defeat. Vitality shows in not only the ability to persist but the ability to start over. Family quarrels are bitter things. They don't go according to any rules. They're not like aches or wounds. They're more like splits in the skin that won't heal because there's not enough material. I've been drunk for about a week now, and I thought it might sober me up to sit in a library. Life is essentially a cheat and its conditions are those of defeat. The redeeming things are not happiness and pleasure but the deeper satisfactions that come out of struggle. Forgotten is forgiven. Genius is the ability to put into effect what is on your mind. In a real dark night of the soul, it is always 3 o'clock in the morning, day after day. I'm a romantic. A sentimental person thinks things will last. A romantic person hopes against hope that they won't. All good writing is swimming underwater and holding your breath. It is sadder to find the past again and find it inadequate to the present than it is to have it elude you and remain forever a harmonious conception of memory. There are only the pursued, the pursuing, the busy and the tired. You don't write because you want to say something. You write because you have something to say. It occurred to me that there was no difference between men in intelligence or race, so profound is the difference between the sick and the well. Action is character. Everybody's youth is a dream, a form of chemical madness. A great social success is a pretty girl who plays her cards as carefully as if she were playing. Men get to be a mixture of the charming mannerisms of the women they have known. At 18 our convictions are hills from which we look. At 45 they are caves in which we hide. No grand idea was ever born in a conference, but a lot of foolish ideas have died there. Cut out all these exclamation points. An exclamation point is like laughing at your own joke. It is in the 30s that we want friends. In the 40s we know they won't save us any more than love did. To write it, it took 3 months. To conceive it 3 minutes. To collect the data in it all my life. What'll we do with ourselves this afternoon? And the day after that, and the next 30 years? Trouble has no necessary connection with discouragement. Discouragement has a germ of its own, as different from trouble as arthritis is different from a stiff joint. Though the jazz age continued, it became less and less an affair of youth. The sequel was like a children's party taken over by the elders. An author ought to write for the youth of his own generation, the critics of the next, and the schoolmaster of ever afterwards. The idea that to make a man work you've got to hold gold in front of his eyes is a growth, not an axiom. We've done that for so long that we've forgotten there's any other way. The easiest way to get a reputation is to go outside the fold, shout around for a few years as a violent atheist or a dangerous radical, and then crawl back to the shelter. After all, life hasn't much to offer except youth, and I suppose for older people, the love of youth in others. Either you think, or else others have to think for you and take power from you, pervert and discipline your natural tastes, civilize and sterilize you. When people are taken out of their depths, they lose their heads, no matter how charming a bluff they may put up. Riches have never fascinated me, unless combined with the greatest charm or distinction. Advertising is a racket, like the movies and the brokerage business. You cannot be honest without admitting that its constructive contribution to humanity is exactly -0. My idea is always to reach my generation. The wise writer writes for the youth of his own generation, the critics of the next, and the schoolmasters of ever afterward. Genius goes around the world in its youth incessantly apologizing for having large feet. What wonder that later in life it should be inclined to raise those feet too swiftly to fools and bores. Thanks for watching.